Hello and welcome to this UniTaster On Demand video. My name is John Cheek. I'm the founder and director of UniTasterDays. And today we're going to be concentrating on creative courses and providing some really useful tips when it comes to writing your personal statement for them. I'm delighted to be joined today by Florence. Florence is joining us from Plymouth College of Art and she works in the outreach team over there. So Florence is going to provide a guide to personal statements with a focus, of course, on creative subjects. I'll pass things straight over to Florence, please.
Hi everyone and welcome to How to Write a Personal Statement. My name is Florence and I work within the outreach team at Plymouth College of Art. So today we're going to just talk about what a personal statement is. So hopefully by the end of it you'll have a better understanding of how to start planning for your personal statement and what is a personal statement, who needs to see it. I will show some examples as well, and I'll give some do's and don'ts of how to write your personal statement. So hopefully by the end of it, you'll just feel a bit more prepared and you can take away some tips and some advice that we've given as well. So what is a personal statement? So a personal statement is an important part of your UCAS application, and it's a chance for you to write about your ambitions, your skills, and your experiences. And then this will be then sent to the university or college that you've chosen to apply for, and then they will read that and then they'll see why you want to study on the course that you've chosen. So as many of you you may already know, in order to apply for a university, you have to apply through UCAS, and then as part of your UCAS application, you're required to submit a personal statement. And this is just showing your experiences and your ambitions and just evidencing why you want to study on the course that you've chosen to study on. So we've come up with a plan here. So this is kind of a simple 4-step plan. So plan, develop, feedback and submit. And this is kind of just to start you guys thinking about how you would plan your personal statements. So we'll go through these in more depth, and hopefully you can then just, after these, try the guidance, the tips that we've suggested, try them out yourself, and hopefully it will just start to form the basis of your personal statement. So stage 1 is starting with a plan. So interview yourself with questions and use the answers as a starting point. So for example, ask yourself questions, or you can ask a friend or a family member, and then you can then answer those. So why do you want to study the course that you've chosen? So think about why you want to study it, think about any future ambitions and how that would help with your future ambitions as well. Why does this subject interest you? Again, I would definitely say go onto the course or the college's website or university's website, have a look at the course that you want to study, have a look at their modules, have a look at the students' work, and have a think about why it really interests you and why you really want to study on that course. Why do you think you're right for the course? So talk about that. And then again, if you're interested in a creative course, think about what and who inspires you, and then think about, has that helped you with your work that you've produced in school or in sixth form? So this is just a nice starting point, just to start you off thinking about what kind of things and experiences that you're going to write down in your personal statement. So stage 2, develop your answers into longer formats. So after you've answered those questions, you will hopefully have a couple of sentences written down for answers. So now what you've got to do is you've got to try and think about making those into bigger paragraphs and talking about those in more depth. So take your answers and start shaping those into your personal statements. So remember to include examples. So if you're talking about something in particular, so if you're talking about work that you produced at school, definitely give examples and talk about that in more depth. And be confident and take this time now as an opportunity to celebrate everything that you've achieved. And this will then just evidence that you are a suitable candidate for the creative course that you have chosen. So stage 3 is get feedback on your first draft. So this is very important, and I would say definitely get more than just one, have more than one draft. So I would say have about 3 drafts and just get someone else to check over it for you, because a fresh pair of eyes can maybe just notice things that you may have not noticed, or again, they might know of something that you did really well in, or something that you might have forgotten to add, and they say, oh, why don't you add that into it? So it's just a nice way of someone looking at your work and improving it as well. So this can be with someone from school, so you can have your teacher to have a look at it. It can be a friend, or it can be a family member. but just meet up with someone, ask them to go through your first draft, and then definitely ask them to give you feedback on it. And again, this just means that you'll be just continually improving your personal statement, and it'll just be the best that it can be. And stage 4, make changes and continue to get feedback. So make those changes that the person who you've met with has said to you to make. So do make those changes, and then have a look at it again yourself. Think about other things that you want to add, if there's anything that you've missed off, and definitely just keep looking at it. Maybe again, then get a different person, maybe a different family member or a different friend to have a look at it, and see what their thoughts are as well. So that's what you just want to repeat this process until you're really happy with your final product of your personal statement. And bear in mind that even lots of people in industry level, they get lots of people to check over their drafts as well. They have drafts that are written, and then they get people to check them before the final project is ready and it's then published or written off. So everyone does get their work checked. So don't be shy to ask someone to help you, because it just means that you'll just be improving it more, and you'll just be 100% happy when you go to press submit that you're happy with the personal statement that you have created. And again, they might notice some grammar or some spelling errors that you might have just glanced over. So it's really good just to have an extra pair of eyes just to pick up those for you. So stage 5, when you're ready, now this means that you can now submit this. So once you've put in all that hard work of starting your personal statement, reading it through, lots and lots of different checks and drafts, then it's time for you now to submit this. So input your personal statement into your UCAS application form, and then you'll have to fill in other sections as well. And again, double and triple check everything on that form. So double check you're happy with everything, double check that you've even submitted the right draft, because if you've got lots of different drafts of your personal statements, just make sure that you've worded them on your desktop, on your laptop, so you know which one is the final copy, and just double check that that one is the right one again. And then again, once you're happy with all that and you think everything's ready, then you can press send. So personal statement top tips. So I'm just going to talk about some tips that we've written down. And again, feel free to take a photo of each slide if you wanted to, and you can refer to these later. So 1 is clearly outline your strengths. So show the university why they should accept your application. So talk about your strengths in depth and evidence things. So if you write something saying that you worked on a piece of artwork with a friend and then you exhibited it somewhere in your local community, then just write about that in more depth and evidence that with what you produced and what you did. Definitely show your enthusiasm and your passion for the course that you want to study. So if you are interested in a certain medium or technique that is really relatable to the course that you've chosen to study, then definitely write about your experiences within that. Again, that just evidence why you'd be a really great student on that course as well. And remember that the feedback you get is constructive criticism, and it's just there to help you. So if someone makes lots of edits on your piece of on your personal statements, they're just doing it to help you and just to help you improve, really. So take the help from everyone and just think of it as positive changes that you're making to your personal statements. And again, be truthful. So when you're writing your personal statement, write all experiences that you've encountered. So don't lie on your personal statement, as you might get caught out in an interview. So when you go to an interview, they might look at your personal statement and they might pick out something in there. And then if that's something that you didn't do, then it's going to be really hard for you to then talk about that in depth. So just be truthful and talk about things that you have encountered and experiences that you have done. And again, be careful with spelling and grammar. So always check your spelling, always check your grammar, and get someone else to proofread it before you submit it. And again, think outside the box. So just think outside the box in terms of what you want to put in your application, what experiences and ambitions that you can put in there that make you kind of stand out a little bit more. So think about that and think about how you could add those into your personal statement. So this is just some general advice of what happens if a personal statement is copied. So just don't be tempted to buy or copy a personal statement, or even to share yours with your friends or anyone, because all personal statements are checked for similarity. So if your personal statement is flagged as similar to another applicant's, it could then affect your chances of being offered a place at college or university. So just make sure that it's an original personal statement and it's really true to yourself, and everything that you've written in there are things that you have experienced and your ambitions as well. So every personal statement received by UCAS is added to their personal statement library, and your personal statement will not be compared to your early applicants. So that just means if you've put a personal statement in for a course and you've applied for a university or a college, and then again you didn't end up going to that university or college, and then you had to submit maybe in the next cycle and you uploaded it again. So it won't be compared, so you're okay on that front. So because they are your true and your own personal statements. So on this slide, we've just put some examples of kind of things that you can write. So when I mentioned about just writing in more depth about your experiences and your skills and your strengths. So as you can see, the person here, they did volunteering for their local gallery when they did their GCSEs. And then they've said they carried this enthusiasm through into their A-levels. And then they've been creating a exciting series of paintings that reflect this time in that person's life. So they're just talking about it in more depth, and they're talking about the kind of journey they went on. So they started looking at it in their GCSEs, and then carried on into their A-levels, and then it's then carried into producing a series of paintings. So they've just talked about it in depth, and just talked about how it's influenced their work up to now. So definitely show your strengths and outline your ideas clearly. Produce several drafts of your personal statements before you're totally happy with it. Be enthusiastic when you're writing it. So you really want to write down things that really show you in the best light. So just be really confident and enthusiastic in your writing. And again, a nice little tip is just don't leave it to last minute, because you don't want to rush it. It's something that you really want to plan nice and clearly, and you really want to have the time to just refer to it, have a look at it, ask someone to check it. And again, if you rush it, you might leave some really important information out. So start it as early as possible, and then that just gives you a nice time to refine it and look at it and be completely happy with your personal statement when you go to submit. So that's just the end of our personal statements top tip and guidance presentation. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you do have. But I do hope that you found the presentation and talk useful, and you can then hopefully apply some of those tips to writing your own personal statements.